Hey there, it's Waste of Essentials 616 back again with some more comic reviews. Once again, I'm a little bit late off the mark. Hey, there we go. Anyway, let's talk about the big one, Flashpoint, issue 5 of 5, the comic that changes everything in the DC universe. Okay, alright. First off, I really enjoyed this book. Jeff Johns written, Andy Cooper artwork, which I have to say is just throughout absolutely brilliant. Throughout the whole series, but especially in this issue, was amazing. Just really nice composition, really dynamic pages. He has got a nice balance of having these big splash pages, but just not overpowering in like an Image Comics kind of way, or an early Image Comics sort of way. But yeah, he has these nice sort of dynamic angles, and it's all good. So the artwork, top notch, just really, really good stuff. Now, when it comes to the story, well, no, I don't want to sort of jump on the bandwagon and say it's really unoriginal. Just let me say this. It reminded me quite a bit of Age of Apocalypse, and I said this in the first issue, and this reminds me a lot of the last Age of Apocalypse issue. And when I say last, that last of the original crossover, which was X-Men Omega. It reminds me quite a bit of that. It reminded me, though, I'm not saying it's a rip-off or that it's really unoriginal or anything like that. It just reminded me a bit of that, and it reminded me of that in the sense that while it's the end of the story, you felt like you've missed certain aspects of that story. Random things happen, like the Superman appearing out of nowhere. Now, of course, this is because the whole part of this crossover is there were lots of other little series, which I didn't get, which all kind of centered in and finished here, much like with the Age of Apocalypse a crossover. So that's what kind of reminds me. But this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Now, on its own merits, this was a decent, solid story. It was well written. The stuff with the Flash and his mum, beautifully done. There are two bits of this where it has a hero and their relationship with a parent, and it's Jeff Johns just handles it beautifully. First off, with the Flash and his mother, with the sacrifice he makes, just the dialogue between the two, really well written. And then the relationship between Batman, Bruce Wayne, and his father, which, spoiler alert, there's a scene at the end where Batman cries, and it's done appropriately. It's very rare where I think it's appropriate where Batman cries. I think it was good that he took off his cowl before he did it, so he just kind of Bruce Wayne crying. It's just beautifully done, done in a much more subtle and complicated way than the Flash and Barry Allen and his mother, but still beautifully handled. So two really good scenes there. Amongst all that, the tying up of loose ends, big battle, there's a kind of twist there, and it's good. Now, that's all on its own merits. It's a good issue, good artwork, well written. Now, with all the bullshit surrounding it, this is the title that changes, that has relaunched DC. Now, it feels like this wasn't kind of the appropriate story for this to happen. I mean, it should have really happened after something like as mind-bending as Final Crisis, where reality is just crumbling to pieces, rather than like a time travel story like this. But that's not taking away from the story. It's still a good story. But just in the context of this, this company changing event, doesn't quite seem big enough. It doesn't seem appropriate. But that doesn't really damage the story. So basically, all in all, this was a great issue. I really enjoyed it. You know, blown away by the artwork. Just really good stuff, and some genuinely really nicely written and emotional scenes. Jeff Johns' hell of a writer, Andy Cubo's hell of an artist, you know. So there we go. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about Justice League #1. I don't think there's much else that can be said about this, really. I received a couple of bad reviews, received some good reviews. I big thumbs up. I've only read the miniseries, and it's a worthwhile miniseries. You do get that sense that you're missing out slightly because you haven't picked up certain miniseries to go along with it. But all in all, on its own, it's a good story. And I think you can appreciate it more if you kind of take a step back. And it's difficult trying not to think of it in the context of it changing the DC universe, because how it does change the DC universe, it's just, you know, it's sort of explained in two pages. Well, it's a big splash page. You know, 3 timelines separated to blah 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 blah, which is going to lead into another crossover, I'm sure. But it's a solid issue, and I did enjoy it, and I'm really glad I picked up the series. So big thumbs up. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a few videos tonight, I think. So back soon. Bye.